You probably rode in the car without a seat belt. Maybe you were in the back, maybe even the front. The windows were cracked while your parents smoked, and songs by Fleetwood Mac or Eagles played softly through the radio. No one was hovering over you. No one was monitoring every move. It wasn't necessarily neglect. It was simply a different level of attention, and that atmosphere shaped you in ways you may still be sorting through. Growing up in the 1970s left a psychological imprint that goes deeper than nostalgia. It's not just about saying things were simpler. It's about understanding what that simplicity actually cost and what it built. One uncomfortable truth is that the 70s marked a visible shift in the structure of the family. Divorce rates climbed dramatically, reshaping millions of childhoods. For many kids, family instability wasn't a statistic. It was ordinary life. Home could change quickly. Adults could leave. Promises didn't always hold. Research into children of divorce during that era found consistent themes in how they viewed the world. Relationships can end, security can dissolve, and adults are imperfect and overwhelmed. Many children internalize the idea that love might be conditional and that stability isn't guaranteed. Instead of rebelling against that uncertainty, they adapted. They learned to keep functioning, to show up at school on Monday and act normal, to adjust quietly. Imagine being 11 in 1977. A parent forgets to pick you up because they're juggling multiple jobs after a separation. You get in the car. There's no dramatic apology, no confrontation, just silence. Not hostile silence, just acceptance. You begin reading moods instead of asking questions. You become observant, capable, self-contained. Psychologist E. Mavis Hetherington conducted long-term studies on families navigating divorce and identified a pattern called parentification. It happens when children take on emotional responsibilities that typically belong to adults. They comfort parents. They suppress their own needs. From the outside, they look mature. Inside, they often feel alone. If this resonates, you may have long believed your independence is simply your personality. But sometimes that independence began as a survival strategy. You learn not to demand too much. You learn that your needs could burden already stressed adults. Over time, that coping mechanism solidified into identity. Yet this generation wasn't defined only by strain. There was also remarkable freedom. Not romanticized freedom, real, unsupervised independence. You left the house and returned at dusk. No GPS. No constant check-ins. Your parents trusted you to navigate your world. Developmental psychologist Peter Gray has written extensively about unstructured play and its importance. Children who create their own games, settle their own conflicts, and explore without constant oversight develop resilience and social intelligence. Many 70s kids experienced this daily. You negotiated friendships without adult referees. You learned who was trustworthy through experience, not instruction. That kind of upbringing fosters comfort with ambiguity. You became someone who can sit with uncertainty. You don't panic when answers aren't immediate. You've lived in unresolved situations before. Waiting became familiar. At the same time, the broader culture carried a heavy emotional tone. The Vietnam War ended painfully. Political scandal eroded confidence in leadership. Economic strain was widespread. Optimism gave way to skepticism. Even if you were young, you absorb that atmosphere. Children take in the emotional climate around them as naturally as language. Trust in institutions declined sharply during that era. Adults discussed politics and hardship with visible tension. Even if you weren't meant to hear those conversations, you did. You learned early that authority figures are fallible. This didn't always turn into cynicism, but it often produced measured skepticism. You didn't assume leaders knew what they were doing. Experience suggested otherwise. Yet here's what stands out. Despite fractured families and cultural disillusionment, many who grew up in the 70s formed deeply loyal relationships. Perhaps precisely because you witnessed how fragile things can be, you value what remains. You didn't grow up broadcasting connection through constant digital affirmation. When someone stayed, when someone showed up consistently, you recognized its rarity. There's weight to your attachments. Friendships from early adulthood may still exist because you don't treat them casually. You learned that not everything lasts, so when something does, you protect it. Psychologist Dan McAdams describes narrative identity as the internal story we build to make sense of our lives. People who grow up amid instability often develop layered, nuanced personal narratives. You're comfortable acknowledging contradiction. You can hold two truths at once: that life can disappoint you and still contain meaning. Riding your bike home alone, sitting in a smoke-filled car, watching the world feel like it was unraveling while you quietly adapted. None of that appears on a resume. No curriculum teaches it. But it built something steady, a tolerance for reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. If any of this feels familiar, it may not just be memory, it may be recognition. The independence, the quiet resilience, the skepticism paired with loyalty. These aren't random traits. They were shaped in a specific time and place. Growing up in the 70s wasn't simply easier or harder. It was formative in a distinct way. And if you see yourself in that description, you already understand how those early experiences continue to echo through who you are today.